I ran into the campus belle who had been drugged at the KTV. And in a moment of desperation, I took her to a hotel. 01 by Susu was the campus belle during our college years. Because of her looks and figure, she had many admirers at school. In our dorm of 6, 5 of the guys were her devoted admirers. A whole dorm with 5 simps. Utterly embarrassing for manhood. It's nothing but an insult and betrayal to the very concept of deep affection. As the only man in the dormitory who hadn't fallen for Baisusu, I felt deeply proud and secretly vowed to protect this honor. The warrior of pure love shall never fall. That day, my roommate and I were heading back to the dorm after a late night snack. I had drunk too much and was feeling tipsy. When I heard them planning to pool money to buy Baisusu a gift, I went off on them. They humiliated Baisusu right in front of them. But I never expected those guys would lose their temper and come at me ready to fight. I don't even remember how we made it back to the dorm that night. It was that night's farce that made Baisusu set her sights on me. On the way back to the dorm, I got intercepted by Baisusu and her crew. I'll never forget the expression on her face at that moment, full of contempt and smugness. You dare insult Susu, looking to die. The school bully standing beside her humiliated me mercilessly. That scene is forever burned into my memory. Even after graduation, that moment remains the greatest humiliation of my life. Now, the woman who once humiliated me is begging me like a dog, and the feeling is indescribable. I stared at the trembling Baisusu beneath me, the flames of revenge burning even fiercer. Yet just half a day ago, I was still job hunting with my childhood friend Huang Sheng. The place we interviewed at was a KTV, with endless pairs of long, pale legs coming and going. Old Sheen, are we really here for work or to visit a brothel? I looked at my drooling childhood friend, speechless. Can't you have a bit more ambition? This is just small potatoes. Our happy life is still ahead of us. My eyes were glued too. It really isn't our fault for being so easily impressed. Since graduating from college, this was genuinely the first time I'd seen so many women dressed in such vibrant, alluring outfits. Back in university, those girls all pretended to be pure and innocent, dressing in extremely conservative ways. You couldn't catch even a glimpse of skin. Faced with this kind of scene now, it'd be strange if we weren't excited. KTVs are paradise for men, and the hostesses they provide are all at least above average in looks. After all, it's a service catering to men, so there are certain standards regarding figure and appearance. As soon as Huang and I entered the KTV, the deafeningly loud music assaulted our eardrums. Passing by private rooms, we could hear men inside bragging loudly. The noise pollution was indeed severe, but the high wages and abundance of beauties made it irresistible. Under the gaze of these beautiful women, we walked with stiff awkwardness, completely ill at ease. Emerging from the throng of beauties, we arrived at an office door. I took a deep breath and knocked. A man opened the door and looked at us both. What are you here for? We're here to see Sister Songwon. She told us to come to this office to find her. Songwon was the contact who arranged for us to come to this KTV. And she's also the HR manager here. Oh, you two are here for the interview, right? Huang Sheng and I nodded. Yes. The man pointed inside. Manager Song is busy. You can come in first and wait a little while. Just at the doorway, we could hear the sound of a camera shutter coming from inside, very faint, but still audible. As soon as we stepped in, Huang Sheng and I froze. A man was holding a camera, continuously pressing the shutter, the flash illuminating a woman in front of a backdrop as she kept changing poses. Although I knew Songwon was already 30 before coming here, seeing her in person now makes her look like she's barely 20. With no trace of the years a 30-year-old woman would show. Watching Songwon's charming face, Huang Sheng and I couldn't help but swallow hard. Wait a moment, please. I'll finish the shoot soon and go change clothes. Songwon greeted us with a smile when she saw us enter. She picked up another set of clothes from the side and walked straight behind the folding screen. My eyes widened instantly, filled with disbelief. Holy crap, is she really going to change clothes here? That screen is translucent. We can see every movement of her silhouette behind it clearly. 02 Songwon's demeanor seemed to transform completely after changing clothes. Where she had been gentle and adorable moments before, she now carried a sharp edge. After waiting about 10 minutes, Songwon finally finished her tasks. Picking up the professional attire she'd set aside, Songwon buttoned her blouse while walking toward Huang Sheng and me. With a charming smile, Songwon said, "Sorry to keep you waiting so long. Oh, no need to rush. No need to rush. If you two need more time, we can actually wait a bit longer." Looking at Huang Sheng's infatuated expression made me furious. His sleazy demeanor was downright embarrassing. As soon as he finished speaking, Songwon frowned. I stepped forward and slapped Huang Sheng. It's only our first day, and he's already spouting such vulgar remarks, even flirting with the HR manager. If this makes her unhappy, the job we've secured could easily slip through our fingers. I'm sorry, Sister Song. The kid doesn't know any better. Please don't take it to heart. I quickly apologized to Songwon. Though he lacks manners, he's in great shape and has trained in combat for 2 years. He could take on 10 men single-handedly without breaking a sweat. Huang Sheng immediately thumped his chest and boasted. That's right, 20 men wouldn't be a problem either. I shot Huang Sheng a withering glare, signaling him to shut his mouth immediately. Song Wan covered her mouth and chuckled softly when she heard this. That smile sent a ripple through my heart. She looked at the two of us and said, shift is from 4 p.m. to 3 a.m. Salary is 20,000 plus commission. Can you handle it? Hearing the monthly pay of 20,000, my childhood friend and I were beyond excited. I can accept it. Song Wan nodded slightly, turned around, and handed us 2 forms. Give me your ID cards and fill out these forms. I'll go make copies of your IDs. Once that's done, you can start working. I didn't expect to be on the job so soon and was momentarily stunned. But Song Wan didn't hesitate after shoving the forms at us. She took our ID cards and left. The man who just opened the door for us led us to collect our uniforms, 2 suits, and walkie-talkies. After a while, all the procedures were completed. Before leaving, the man reminded us to take good care of the uniforms and walkie-talkies, warning that we'd have to pay for any damage or loss. Starting work so soon. I haven't even processed it yet. Bro, Huang Sheng, my childhood friend, stared blankly at the walkie-talkie in his hand. Haven't figured it out yet. Give it another moment and Sister Song might just steal your soul away. As brothers who grew up together, did he really think I wouldn't see right through his little scheme? And my words? Huang Sheng scratched his head awkwardly. It's all because Sister Song is too beautiful. It's hard to resist. I warned him. A woman like Song Wan becoming a manager in this kind of place definitely isn't simple. Don't you dare do anything stupid. Understand? Huang Sheng said. I get it. Less talk and more action. In the following days, my childhood friend and I threw ourselves wholeheartedly into our new jobs. To our surprise, this was far from an easy job. Every few days, my childhood friend and I would end up in the hospital. The KTV was filled with all kinds of people, and thugs often harassed the girls. Just in the past 2 weeks, my friend and I had dealt with 20 incidents of thugs bothering the girls. In some VIP rooms, the things that went on were even more disgusting. According to Sister Song, those people were all rich second-generation kids with powerful family connections. They often brought students in to drink and sing on the surface. It was just entertainment, but in reality, it was coercion. We have to turn a blind eye to these things, even if we have a sense of justice. We dare not confront the second-generation rich. They could easily crush us ordinary folks. At first, my childhood friend and I were somewhat resistant, secretly helping or warning those students. But over time, we became numb to these things. To put it bluntly, those women simply didn't value themselves, so they deserved their miserable fate. Our well-intentioned warnings were dismissed as meddling in their affairs. In this KTV, I've witnessed too much of humanity's cold indifference. 03, after some time, I felt physically and mentally exhausted and grew increasingly weary of the KTV lifestyle. Though Sister Song paid well, she kept assigning us more tasks, many of which were dangerously close to crossing the line. Having earned enough money, I began considering resignation. Mr. Huang, after tonight's shift, I plan to quit. Sister Song has been kind to us, and I'll always remember this debt of gratitude. Even if I quit this line of work, I'll never forget how Sister Song recognized my worth. I puffed on my cigarette, muttering to myself. Huang Sheng beside me hadn't responded for the longest time. When I turned to look, what I saw made my blood boil. That little bastard had somehow managed to cozy up to the female floor manager, and now the two of them were flirting back and forth, trading playful banter, watching the two of them getting all lovey-dovey. If there hadn't been outsiders around, they'd probably have been all over each other, practically eating each other's faces off. I instantly flew into a rage, flicking the cigarette but straight at Huang Sheng's chest. The scorching ember landed on him, making him howl in pain. Huang Sheng shoved the hostess aside and strode toward me, rubbing his chest furiously. Qinbei, are you out of your damn mind? I glanced at the female manager and pointed at the door. Get out. The manager hastily picked up her clothes and scurried out in a panic. Watching his prized catch escape, Huang Sheng grew frantic. He tried to push past me to chase after her, but I blocked his way. Qinbei, what the hell's wrong with you? Can't you see I'm busy? I took a deep breath and said, Mr. Huang, I'm planning to resign. Will you come with me? Huang was stunned when he heard this. You're resigning. I nodded. Yes, I've had enough. Huang didn't respond immediately. After a moment of silence, he slowly said, Old Qin, this job didn't come easy. Are you really willing to give it up just like that? Jobs out there aren't as easy or as profitable as this one. You should think carefully. From Huang's tone, it was clear he had no intention of resigning. I looked at him and said, I made up my mind. I'm quitting after today. Huang continued, what about Sister Song? Have you talked to her? She gave us a second chance in life. If it weren't for Sister Song, we might still be tightening screws in some factory. Huang Sheng's words left me speechless. Song Wan was our first benefactor. Without her, we wouldn't be where we are today. I could clearly see that Sister Song truly treated Huang Sheng and me like her own younger brothers. Within just half a month, she promoted us, gave us raises, rented us an apartment, and even provided us with an Audi. Which college graduate could achieve this level of success within a year of entering society? Practically none. Seeing my hesitation, Huang Sheng said many things to persuade me to stay. Even dropping a bombshell, she told me that Bai Susu would also come tonight. Hearing this news, I trembled all over and looked at him in disbelief. She's coming. Huang nodded. Yeah. I heard from the female manager that Bai Susu recently hooked up with some rich second-generation guy. He brings her here to party every night. Chin. This is our perfect chance for revenge. Huang leaned in with a meaningful expression. That bitch bullied us so much back in school. Now that she's on our turf, shouldn't we settle the score properly? Memories of being bullied by Susu during college flashed through my mind, making me clench my fists involuntarily. It was her back then, the one who made me suffer endless humiliation in school. I've kept this debt in mind all this time. Now that the chance for revenge is right before me, of course I won't let it slip away. I clench my teeth. Every single humiliation she made me endure, I'll pay her back for every last one. At 9 in the evening, a Maserati pulled up at the entrance, and a man and woman stepped out of the car. The man was handsome, dressed in a tailored suit, exuding an air of nobility. The woman wore a white dress adorned with expensive jewelry, clinging to the man's arm with a smug smile on her face. No matter how many years had passed, Bai Susu still carried herself with that same haughty, condescending demeanor. I glared at her fiercely, my nails nearly digging into my own flesh. It wasn't until Sister Song's command of "greet the guest" that snapped me back to reality. When Bai Susu passed by me, her eyes flashed with disgust. Her lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. I knew exactly what she meant. Trash. It wasn't until Sister Song's call of "next customer" that I was snapped back to reality. When Bai Susu passed by me, a flash of disgust appeared in her eyes. Her lips moved slightly, but no sound came out. I understood what she meant. Trash. 04 Bai Susu still recognized me. I thought she would have forgotten me by now. Suppressing my anger, I forced a smile. Esteemed guests, please come in. As I spoke these words, humiliation and rage churned within me. As the two were leaving, the rich kid finally spoke. Susu, do you know him? Bai Susu shook her head with a laugh. How could I possibly know some lowly security guard? Chatting and laughing, the two were led into the private room by the female hostess. Watching Bai Susu's retreating figure, the fury in their eyes only grew stronger. Who does she think she is? Just wait, soon she'll be begging us on her knees. Huang Sheng gritted his teeth and walked up to me, saying, Chin, just wait and watch the show in a moment. I asked in confusion. What do you mean by that? Huang Sheng replied, you'll find out soon enough. This guy actually started playing riddles with me. Alright, I'll see what's really going to happen later. Chin, Huang, bring 4 crates of beer to VIP room 105. Got it, coming. Hearing Sister Song call us, my childhood friend and I hurried to move the beer. At the door, I realized this was Bai Susu's private room. Huang Sheng frowned slightly. Is this woman doing this on purpose? Bai Susu held grudges deeply. Even after a year had passed, she would still seize any opportunity to humiliate others. I looked at Huang Sheng and said with a smile, if she wants to play with us, then let's give her a proper game. Pushing open the private room door, my childhood friend and I walked in, each carrying 2 crates of beer. Inside the room, Bai Susu was playing some unknown game with a rich second-generation air, her face beaming with constant laughter. When they saw us enter, the rich air pointed at the floor. Put the beer down. Then you can leave. My childhood friend and I had just set the wine bottles down on the ground and were about to leave when Bai Susu's nauseating voice rang out. Wait, what's the rush? We stopped in our tracks and turned to look at Bai Susu. Hello, is there something else you need? Bai Susu ignored me and turned to the rich second-generation air beside her, pouting coquettishly, darling, just drinking without any entertainment is so boring. I want to see a show. Can you find someone to perform for me? Please. Bai Susu was quite skilled at acting cute, combined with her pretty face and sugary voice. She easily charmed those young, wealthy heirs. While whining, she kept shaking the man's arm. All right, I'll find someone for you. How could a rich second generation resist Bai Susu's coquetry? He gave in after just a few words. The next second, I felt a hostile gaze directed at me. No need to guess, it had to be Bai Susu's. This petty woman was scheming to humiliate us. Sure enough, the rich second-generation heir's gaze fell on me and Huang Sheng. He pointed at us and said, Hey, you two, what talents do you have? Come up and perform something to entertain us. Huang Sheng had a short temper, and coupled with the other's condescending tone, he bluntly retorted, No talents. Bai Susu immediately showed a look of disappointment upon hearing Huang Sheng's words. What a pity. I really wanted to see some talent performances. Without some entertainment, I don't even feel like drinking anymore. Bai Susu deliberately said this for the rich second-generation heir to hear. After her words, the young man's eyes immediately turned cold. If you can't even perform any talents, what good are you? The rich second-generation heir cast a cold glance at me and Huang Sheng. Before we could speak, Bai Susu spoke up again. Are they here for money? Even hiring monkeys to perform tricks on the street costs money. You know, hearing this, the rich heir immediately burst into laughter. Susu is right. It's only fair to pay performers for their act. The rich kid pulled out a wad of cash from his bag and tossed it onto the table in front of them. I don't care what you perform, as long as it entertains us. You can take these 2,000 anytime. Humiliation. This was outright humiliation aimed straight at us. My eyes glared fiercely at Bai Susu, wishing I could skin her alive. The man's gaze was full of contempt and disdain as he looked at me and Huang Sheng. Sorry, we're not interested. I refused outright and turned to leave with Huang Sheng. But their voices called out to us again from behind. Not enough. Huh, here's another 2,000, making it 4,000 total. The man pulled out 2 more stacks of bills from his bag and tossed them onto the table, while the pale-skinned girl beside him clapped and egged him on. Wow, big bro, you look so cool throwing money like that. I really like you. Her sickeningly sweet voice was enough to make anyone's stomach turn with disgust. The rich second-generation heir beside her seemed to relish being praised by Susu in that tone, a smug smile spreading across his face. What? Still not enough? Fine, I've got plenty of money to spare. The man pulled out 2 more thick stacks of cash and tossed them onto the table, then turned to look at me and Huang Sheng with an amused grin. I've changed my mind. Seeing how tough you two act, there's 40,000 on the table. All you have to do is bark like dogs 3 times each. And this money is yours. The man lay on the sofa, one arm draped over by Susu's shoulders, his eyes fixed intently on me and Huang Sheng. 3 barks from a dog were worth 40,000 yuan. Rich people sure were generous with their money. If word got out that someone was willing to pay 40 grand just to hear a dog bark, there'd probably be no shortage of people lining up to learn how. Just saying it out loud painted a vivid picture in my mind. A group of people kneeling on the floor of the private room, barking like dogs. Just imagining it feels absurd and ridiculous. But unfortunately, he chose the wrong target for his humiliation. Perhaps others might abandon their dignity for 40,000 yuan. But for me, dignity is more valuable than money. My dignity was already trampled by Susu during university. Now in society, I won't give her another chance. You think 40 grand can buy our dignity? Dream on. I'm telling you, even if you coughed up 200 grand, this young master wouldn't make sound. Huang Sheng glanced at the rich kid lounging on the sofa, his face twisting in contempt before flipping him off with a cocky middle finger. Before the spoiled heir could even react, Susu exploded in fury first. She probably never imagined that those she'd once humiliated would dare defy her now. What kind of trash are you? Just a couple of stinking doormen. Even if you put on suits, you'll always have lowly blood running through your veins. Susu was clearly furious, standing up to glare at me and Huang Sheng with no regard for maintaining any ladylike demeanor. We're paying customers here to enjoy ourselves. If you can't make us happy, I'll report you to your manager. When you lose your jobs, don't come crying to me. Listening to Susu's words, I almost wanted to laugh. She's still as blindly confident as she was in college, always thinking a single word from her could change someone else's fate. Now that we're out in the real world, we're no longer those students who would let her bully us. I gave Susu a cold look and said, "You're exactly the same as back then, unchanged. And your words are just as irritating. Could you please get one thing straight? This is a KTV, not school. You don't call the shots here, and we have no reason to listen to you." Huang Sheng also spoke up. Susu, I'm warning you to watch your mouth, or you won't be leaving this private room today. Susu looked at him with utter disdain. You're killing me. Just a few days as a security guard, and you think you're hot shit. I'd love to see how you plan to stop me from leaving this room. 06 Huang Sheng sneered coldly. Ha! Every villain meets their match. After bullying so many people, your comeuppance was bound to arrive sooner or later. From Huang Sheng's tone, something big is really going to happen tonight. Seems like this guy really did prepare something behind my back. Susu sneered dismissively. All this talk, and yet you're still just a coward with no real skills. Huang Sheng, you love to boast back in college, and even after graduating, you're still just a bottom feeder who talks big. With that, Susu turned her gaze toward me. And you, Qinbei, I know you still hate me in your heart, but I don't care. I just love the way you can't stand me, yet can't do anything about it. As old classmates, let me give you some advice. Just focus on being security guards and mind your own business. After saying this, Susu returned to the sofa. The rich second-generation heir looked at Susu and slightly frowned. Darling, do you know these two? Susu said with a laugh. Those 2 poor losers. They used to harass me in college. I just recognized them up close. My eyes were fixed on Susu, burning with the urge to rush over and smash her face in right then and there. I had never met someone so shameless. How could she be so full of herself? And now she claims we harassed her all the time in college. What a damn liar. She just makes things up on the spot. The rich second-generation heir coldly glanced at me and Huang Sheng before turning his gaze to Bai Susu. Darling, should I teach these two a lesson for you? Bai Susu immediately nodded. MHM. Yes, please. Seeing the heir pick up his phone to make a call, Huang Sheng and I quickly grabbed 2 liquor bottles from the floor. Just as the rich second generation was about to make the call, the private room door behind him was pushed open. Qin. Huang, what are you two doing? Why is delivering drinks taking so long? Didn't you hear the other guests calling for you? Huang Sheng and I turned around to see Song Wan walking in. After entering, Song Wan flashed a smile at the rich second generation. Oh, long time no see. Young Master Zhao, looks like you had a great time tonight, the rich kid said. What's the deal with these 2 security guards you hired? Can't even speak properly. And look what they're holding in their hands, planning to hit someone. Neither of us said a word. Yet this bastard had the nerve to play the victim first. Song Wan quickly interjected. Young Master Zhao, they're new here. It's normal for them to be a bit clueless. I'll personally teach them a lesson later. With those words, Song Wan picked up a glass of wine from the table and walked over to the rich second-generation heir. Come on, young Master Zhao, let me toast you. The rich heir still showed Song Wan some face, picking up his glass and clinking it with hers. As they drank, Song Wan kept one hand behind her back, signaling for us to leave. I gave Bai Susu, who was sitting beside me, a cold glance and walked out of the private room with Huang Sheng. The moment we stepped out, I couldn't help but curse. What's with the attitude? Think you're hot shit just because you've got some money. Just lucky enough to be born into a rich family. That's all. Huang Sheng chimed in. Exactly. Just some spoiled rich kid. Who does he think he is? If Sister Song hadn't walked in earlier, I would have smashed a bottle over his head. If you dare put a hole in his head tonight, you'll be gone by tomorrow. Song Wan stepped out of the private room. When he saw Song Wan, Huang Sheng gave an awkward smile. Songjia, thanks for helping me out back there. Song Wan waved her hand and said, it's nothing serious, but you better not mess with that Zhao guy. He has powerful connections behind him that ordinary people like you can't afford to provoke. Huang Sheng and I nodded. Got it, Sister Song. We'll be careful. After giving us a few more warnings, Song Wan left. Can't afford to provoke him. That's not necessarily true. 07 Huang Sheng watched Song Wan walk away and snorted coldly. I turned to Huang Sheng, frowning slightly. What do you mean by that? Huang Sheng glanced toward the private room where Bai Susu was. His eyes filled with a chilling intensity. You'll find out soon enough. Huang Sheng's words left me even more puzzled. Could this guy really be planning to take action against that rich second-generation Zhao? It shouldn't be possible, right? Though Huang Sheng has a bit of a temper, he wouldn't be reckless enough to go that far. I was still very curious about what Huang Sheng had said. After that, we never went back into the private room where Bai Susu was. Not even to deliver things. Sister Song had arranged for others to replace us. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed, and I had no idea what had happened inside Bai Susu's private room during that time. But one thing was certain, they were still inside. Come to think of it, it was rather strange. Nearly 2 hours had gone by without anyone seeing them come out. They hadn't even ordered any fruit platters or drinks. Half an hour ago, a colleague went to ask if they needed anything, only to be scolded and chased out by that Zhao guy. For 2 hours, Huang Sheng sat on the sofa playing with his phone, occasionally answering a couple of calls. However, he deliberately avoided letting me hear the content of those conversations. Still, I could glean some clues from his expression. The guy was clearly excited about something. The reason for his excitement was likely related to what he'd mentioned earlier that morning about Bai Susu. After about 2 minutes, Huang Sheng suddenly stood up from the sofa. He walked up to me and said, Old Qin, come on, I'll take you to snatch someone. Me, I was genuinely covered in question marks at that moment, completely clueless about what he meant. Snatch someone. Snatch who? He took out a bag, pulled out 2 sets of plain clothes from the ground, and tossed one to me. Put these on. Don't go out and get recognized. After changing, he handed me a hat and a face mask. Seeing him decked out like this, I couldn't help but want to make a sarcastic remark. Dude, are we being all sneaky like this to rob a bank or something? I followed Huang out of the KTV and then saw him go to park a car nearby. About 5 minutes later, 4 people came out of the KTV, 3 guys and 1 girl. The guy and girl were even being supported by the other 2 men as they came out. I froze instantly when I saw their clothes, immediately recognizing these 2. It was Bai Susu and that rich second-generation heir. One of the men said to Huang Sheng, Brother Sheng, we got her out for you. Huang Sheng handed them 2,000 yuan and said, Thanks, bro. They put Bai Susu and the rich second-generation heir into our car before leaving. Huang Sheng glanced at the rich second-generation heir behind him, raised his hand, and slapped him hard across the face. You think you're tough? Try acting tough again. You bastard. Huang Sheng's slap was exceptionally vicious. Yet the rich second-generation heir didn't make a single sound, as if he were asleep. No, something's wrong with these 2. It looks like they've been drugged. I stared at Huang Sheng in disbelief. Are you insane? This is illegal. But Huang Sheng replied, What law did I break? I didn't do anything to them. I pointed at the 2 in the back seat and said, You drugged them and still claim you didn't break the law. If the police find out, we'll both end up in jail. Huang gave me a sidelong glance and said, "What are you thinking? I wouldn't dare do anything illegal. I didn't spike the drink either." I frowned. "Then who did?" Huang glanced at the rich kid and said, "He spiked it himself. He just drank it too." I was even more confused. What's going on? Did that rich kid drug by Susu? What exactly is happening here? 08 Huang Sheng drove to a hotel entrance. He first wanted to check in and get the room ready before bringing Bai Susu upstairs to the rich kid. Once in the room, the rich kid was immediately thrown to the floor by Huang Sheng, while Bai Susu was tossed onto the bed. At this point, I roughly understood what he was planning to do. You're not thinking of taking advantage of Bai Susu while she's unconscious, and before I could finish my sentence, Huang Sheng cut me off. "What the hell are you thinking? I wouldn't touch trash like her even if I wanted to." He carefully took out another hidden camera and installed it opposite the bed, then threw the wealthy second-generation heir onto the bed. After finishing these preparations, Huang Sheng turned to me with a smile and said, "The show will begin soon." We waited in the room for about 10 minutes before the two on the bed began to stir. The first to wake up was Bai Susu. Her eyes were unfocused, and she seemed completely disoriented. She got up from the bed, and when she saw me and Mr. Huang, her face immediately turned pale, her hands covering her chest. She shouted at us, "WH, what do you want?" Mr. Huang smirked and said, "What do we want? You should know better than anyone. Back in school, you bullied us relentlessly. Today, we're going to return every bit of humiliation you put us through." Upon hearing this, Bai Susu grew even more terrified. She scrambled off the bed, rushed over to me, and immediately dropped to her knees. "Qinbei, I beg you, please let me go. I was wrong before. I apologize to you." "Okay." I pushed her away with a cold tone. "It's too late for that now." Bai Susu tried to speak again, but Huang Sheng knocked her out and threw her onto the bed. After finishing these tasks, Huang Sheng glanced at me and said, "Let's go." We left the hotel and returned to the car. Huang Sheng took out a tablet and pulled up the hotel room surveillance. We waited a full half hour before finally seeing the scene we wanted. Time to wrap this up. Huang took out his phone and made a call. "I want to report a prostitution case. It's at room 503, Haitian Hotel. Get here quickly." The police arrived swiftly, reaching the hotel in less than 20 minutes. Within minutes, the officers escorted both the wealthy playboy and Bai Susu out and placed them in the police car. Huang and I were also called in to give statements. And before going, Huang had already told me exactly what to say. We insisted that Bai Susu was engaged in prostitution. After giving our statements, Huang and I went back home. The next morning, when I woke up, I found our university group chat had exploded. I clicked in and froze. The screen was filled with videos of Bai Susu with the rich second-generation heir, shot from every angle and in crystal clear quality. Even the campus forums were flooded with the videos being wildly shared. Every university was condemning Bai Susu, especially those who had been bullied by her before. Now, they were all relentlessly cursing her. In just one morning, the former campus belle had become public enemy number one. I have to say, Huang Sheng's plan was truly ruthless. He completely destroyed Bai Susu's reputation. I quit my job at the KTV, but Huang Sheng is still working there. I don't know why he chose to stay, but I respect his decision. 2 weeks after the incident, I saw Bai Susu again. She was completely different from before. Her complexion was terrible, and she looked gloomy overall, devoid of any of her former vitality. I don't feel sorry for her. She brought this all upon herself. The end.